So I'll just share my screen right away. Um, 1 minute. I think I have a sign out. Okay. Okay, looks good. Perfect. Perfect. Hi guys, welcome to this session. Today's session is really amazing also. I mean, we have a lot of content we're putting out, and the reason why we're putting out all this is not just for information purposes also. We're also putting out stuff, contents for feedback, insight into what we're interested in, what kind of projects are we particular about at this point in time. And we have a collage or a collection of videos, just like this, deck files, data, documents. We're just putting out, engaging in our audience or everyone who has questions or who wants proper insight into what is happening in this part of the world or what is happening as regards our different interests and projects. So this is one of them. We'll be sharing this with you today, and I'm really excited to be taking this one. And of course, my name is Ikechukwu Watu from 623 Ventures, and you just want to sit back and relax and come along with me on this. I mean, I promise it will be fun. It'll be lots of fun and fact-filled also. So today our topic is a case study for smart cities in Africa, and we'll be looking at Lagos as a reference point. So I'm going to take that again. The topic says a case study for smart cities in Africa, and we're looking at Lagos as a reference point. I mean, smart cities are buzzing right now. Everyone is talking about it. It's been here for a while, I think. We'll get into all those details, but the thing about the thing peculiar, or the thing you can say is interesting about this topic is we're focusing on Africa. And you must have noticed the trend with our recent videos or videos in the past. We're big on Africa. Africa is the future. Africa has emerged. Africa is changing a lot of things. It's literally where everything is going to be happening, or we believe it's where everything is happening, or where it's going to be happening at some point in our times. So we we have some content or projects, or we have keen interests in Africa and the countries on that wonderful continent, or rather on this wonderful continent. Um, and we're just putting our contents to further explain some certain things. And this one is about smart cities, which happens to be a big deal right now. But people have questions: what are smart cities? How are smart cities applicable? Do they really solve the problems? How do I benefit from smart city as an individual? Um, what is it about? Lots of questions here and there. There's a huge ambiguity and vagueness attached to it. And we just felt we could probably help with simplifying it, demystifying the facts about smart cities. And we're looking at Lagos as a reference point. And it's for a reason. I mean, we're not the only people who has seen or who sees the prospects in Africa. Um, I'll give you an instance. For instance, this year, 2021, one of the biggest investment companies in the world, one of the biggest VC companies in the world, VC firms in the world, which is Tiger Global, had an amazing year. So far, they've been investing a lot of money. They have always invested or been particular about African projects and all that, but they've invested almost 3 times what they've invested into African companies, African locally founded companies, or companies that are in partnership with international companies also. They've funded um, lots of companies in the tech space, the blockchain space. I mean, everything is buzzing right now in Africa. A lot of good is happening, really a lot of good is happening in this part of the world. And it's only right we explain everything in in different um, in different lights or in different ways, so that you understand it better. You can explain things better for the layman and everyone who's interested in getting knowledge. So yeah, just come along. Let's have some fun. Let's have some information. Let's gather some knowledge, and yeah, see how this goes. I'm really excited about this. So next slide. Um, so here, like I said, smart cities are buzzing right now. Smart cities, everyone hears about a smart city. And the term smart city was coined towards the end of the 20th century. Now we're in the 21st century right now, but from the 20th century, that was when the term smart city was introduced. That people it started gathering um, started gathering momentum. People were concerned. People were interested. Oh, what are smart cities? And Lagos is a smart city. Lagos is trying to be a smart city. That's why we have a small map of Lagos and some of the suburbs and the locations in this beautiful metropolitan city. You can obviously see Ikoyi here. There's Surulere on the map on the screen. Um, a cool, you can literally see Banana Island by the corner, Makuku. This is just a glimpse of what Lagos is, and it just shows this picture just shows the synergy as to what we're trying to achieve with this particular presentation, or this particular video, or this content about why Lagos is being used as a reference point for smart cities in Africa. And so just a little bit of history. Smart cities have always been here since the 20th century, and we're in the 21st century right now. It's still buzzing. There's still a lot of questions to be asked. A lot of people um, need to have better knowledge as to what smart city is, and we're hoping this content is going to help you understand it better. So we go to the next slide. And now this is a brief explanation of what a smart city is. So a smart city is a digital city in which various data are accumulated, analyzed, and become the basis for management decisions. So in every organization, in every society, in every nation, in a community, there are people who lead and there are people who are followers, the people who are in positions of power, and these people make decisions for a large amount of people, or rather they make decisions that affect a lot of people. And breaking this down for you to make those decisions, it's really important you have the facts right. You have to know the difference between A and B, know what is happening, ask questions, why, how, what, when, who, where, this kind of questions, ask the right questions, get the right answers, and these answers can be data or information. And one problem we have over here, I'm just going to make mention of this. One problem we have over here in African countries is that we don't have data available, solid, um, valid data, data that can be verified. And there are lots of people who are doing good work in making sure that problem is solved, but we still have a gap in data and information. Documentation of data, collation of data, or rather collecting data, documentation, analyzing that data. Um, because once you have you have the data sorted out properly, you see that when you're making a decision, um, it covers everyone. Everyone is included. Inclusiveness is taken care of. Sustainability is taken care of. Um, an example is if you have the right data that covers different demographics, from the young persons to the old persons to people who are sick, people who are disabled. You have the data, the facts, the figures, pregnant people, whatever data you're looking for, if the data covers everything or covers every single person or every single demographic in the population, then you can make proper informed decisions. You can make decisions that will really affect changes because it's taken into consideration of every data that's been collected. So A smart city is a digital city. Digitalization is already here. It's a digital city in which various data, various information are accumulated, they are collected or they are gathered, analyzed. You analyze it, you break it down, you understand the data, and then they become the basis. It now becomes the reason for making a decision or for management holders or people who are in positions of power to make a decision. And this is really important for a lot of us here to understand. We felt this explanation hits the nail on the nail on its head. It explains it, it's on point, it's direct, and it's concise and precise enough. So this is just a simple explanation of what a smart city is like. And I mean, we have smartphones right now. A lot of people use smartphones. Everything has changed. We have smart contracts in blockchain. Everything is digitally related right now. Everything is happening on the internet, social media, um, on the web, on mobile phones and apps. So it's only right for organization to take a smart look to it or to have smart features to it. And this is just a simple explanation of what a smart city is like. So we'll go to the next slide. Um, so here we're saying the smart city's basic organizational structure encompasses developments in communications, data management, the evolution of the Internet of Things, and a wide array of systems for smart activity management. So every smart city has a central role to play in its development, from planning to adopting and maintaining programs. So what we're trying to explain here, what we just simply mean by this is um, in every once you have a government in place or once you have things or people in or a community in place, there is obviously a government, and then there is a structure or organizational structure who's at the top, a hierarchy, um, or a structure of how to do things, how things like get done. So in every smart city, the structure involves or includes developments in communication, new cutting edge technology as regards communication, improvements on communications, when you need telecommunications, networking, and all that, data management, how to manage data properly, a database of data that's collected, analyzed, managed for proper information, and for informed decisions, evolution of Internet of Things. I mean, you have bioenergy, you have um, smart buses, smart transport systems, healthcare, smart healthcare related systems. Technology is just a synergy between technology and data coming together to solve some of urbanization's greatest problems or mitigating factors against urbanization or factors that are limiting problems that are limiting urbanization in different parts of the world. So you use data. This simply means data and information, data and technology being combined or merged together to solve these problems. And you have a wide array, you have a wide um, mass of smart activity management going on. So we'll go to the next slide, and so looking at the next slide, and so obviously from the topic, which is a case study of smart cities in Africa, Lagos is our reference point. And Lagos, I mean, you've got to love Lagos. Lagos is a beautiful place to be for digital nomads, people who are transiting through the city, people who are residents, people who are visitors or tourists, people who have business or come to Lagos for pleasure or whatever purpose you're in Lagos. If you've ever been to Lagos, if you've ever heard of Lagos, it's really a popular place. It's Africa's hotbed of activities. Um, it's arguably, I mean, Nigeria is referred to as the giant of Africa. So it's also arguably um, Africa's Silicon Valley and where everything happens. A lot of things happen over here, I mean. So Lagos is a beautiful place and it is a city of great potential, to be very honest with you, because there are lots of things that you see. Lagos was once the capital of Nigeria some time ago. The present capital right now is Abuja. It's a federal capital territory, but um, urbanization and development came into hit Lagos real hard. And ever since then, it's always raised the bar or raised the standard as regards what a smart or what an urban state or an urban city or a fully um, world-class city should look like. It's Nigeria's biggest metropolis and most functional metropolis. So it also has its shortcomings, which are lots of challenges as regards urbanization. But amidst or despite all the shortcomings, Lagos, she has managed to maintain some form of steady growth and development. So the dream to implement the smart city concept, which happens to be one of the sustainable development goals of the UN. The United Nations have the SDGs, which are called the Sustainable Development Goals for developing and and underdeveloped countries, which the majority of the African countries fall into, Nigeria inclusive. So these goals are to help people, or to help the governments and the people of those nations maintain some form of stability, get some um, have a roadmap to achieving some of the basic needs and amenities that people um, have to make use of, and they vary from healthcare to the likes. We're not going to go into details about SDGs, but having smart cities is also a basis. The smart city concept has to fall in line with or has to be in tandem with the SDG goals. And Lagos as an African economic hub has been at the center of all this all along. So Lagos thrives as the economic backbone of Nigeria, and this says a lot. It's literally Africa's Silicon Valley. Tech, I mean, tech is booming right now. A lot of things are happening over here. Um, and there's a reason behind that. There's the history, its history as not only being one of Africa's most populous city, it has one of the highest population of Black people on the planet. Also, it's also Africa's largest polyglot city, a polyglot city in the sense that what I mean by this is it is the city, it's one of the largest cities or one of Africa's largest cities that has different languages, different people from diverse cultures and backgrounds come into Lagos and do business or interact or meet one another. You have lots of languages. Nigeria has lots of languages. Nigeria has a large cultural diversity and population diversity also. Different languages apart from the three major tribes, Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo. So this has made, shaped or formed the present day Lagos and how Lagos looks like right now. And it's important for Lagos to achieve that goal or that aim of being a smart city. And it's really, really important. So this has been demonstrated in several completed and ongoing commendable initiatives. So there are lots of initiatives that come up every time. A new government, a new urban development authority, a new town planning authority. Some people just come up with their own plans and tell you, okay, this is how it's supposed to be done. Everyone has their own idea of what a smart city should look like. And the question, it boils down to one question: why has it not happened yet? Regardless of everything that's been going on for years. One of the major programs that is smart city related is the Eco Atlantic City, which was formed a long time ago. We're going to go into details about that, and it, it had amazing. It has a rather, because it's yet to be completed. It has amazing features like Wi-Fi, public parks. It just had um, the same look of what a modern day smart city should look like, a 21st century smart city should look like. But yet, it's still lagging behind as regards timeline, duration. It has yet to be achieved, and there's a reason behind that. And the problems that are mitigating against these kind of smart cities, just like Eco Atlantic in Lagos and different smart cities in different parts of Africa, the problems mitigating them have to be properly analyzed and dissected for us to understand better. So we'll go to the next slide. So a smart city, Lagos, will be the pride of all Lagosians because it's important. So now, because we have a large population, and I mean, every day a young person in Nigeria tells you, "Oh, I'm coming to Lagos." Lagos is literally the hub of everyone's dreams to an extent in Nigeria and to a large extent Africa. I mean, there's a saying we have that goes, if you make it in Lagos, you can make it anywhere. And if you cannot make it in Lagos, you can literally not make it anywhere. I feel that has a bias to it, but it states some things clearly. It has some truth to it also. Lagos is where everyone comes to. If there's anything referred to as a Nigerian dream, Lagos is where you can achieve your Nigerian dream. Just like you have the American dream and all that. So it's very important for Lagos to achieve that status of being a smart city and to be the pride of all Lagosians, indigenous people, people who come into Lagos, people who come for business, travelers, digital nomads, um, partners, people who just come for visits, tourists and all that. It's really important for Lagos to achieve that status of being a smart city because it will help a lot of things. Um, and Lagos has been adopting new methodologies. The technological advancement is off the roof, skyrocketing every single day. There are lots of public-private partnership projects going on right now. Um, so we're going to go to the next slide. So one part of Lagos we're laying emphasis on in this project is, or in this presentation is Lekki. So Lekki has become, okay, I'll state this categorically. Lagos has two parts. Um, you, you can literally see that whenever you visit Lagos. Sorry about that. We have the mainland, the Lagos mainland, and the island. And the reason is because Lagos is on the edge of Nigeria. It's a part of Nigeria that literally has the Atlantic Ocean coming through or coming into the country. So there are lots of islands in the Lagos Island, a lot of beaches and lots of water bodies in that part of the states, in that part of Lagos. As a result of that, it's also one of the most elite parts of Lagos because it has some of the hotspots and places where you have really luxurious properties, affluent suburbs like Ikoyi, Victoria Island, and also Lekki. So Lekki is a peninsula, and it's a part of the Lagos Island, and it's literally located in between Victoria Island, which happens to be or is known for being the commercial or the business center of the island, and Ikoyi, which is a residential neighborhood on the island. Ikoyi was one of the first places for the colonial masters or people. Nigeria was colonized some time ago before before we gained independence or before she gained independence. So when the foreign traders and businessmen, colonial masters, leaders came to this part of the world, they found Ikoyi to be an area of Lagos or Lagos Island that was really okay for them to stay or was somewhere they could literally have their residential homes in. So Ikoyi is a residential area. Lekki is a mix of it's a multi multi-use area. It's not only relegated, or it's not only constrained to being a residential area or a commercial area. It's a mix of all these land uses in a whole. So we're going to be talking about Lekki a little bit, because Lekki happens to be one of the areas that had a smart city plan from its inception. So the Lekki suburb region comprises a naturally formed peninsula on the Atlantic Ocean. It's east of Lagos City and Lagos Lagoon. It's a rapidly growing area on the coast, and it has lots of beaches, including the Lekki Eleko Beach, has the Elegushi Beach and the likes. So it has a feel of, because previously some of the people who came into Nigeria, some of the colonial, or during the ancient times, some of the traders and people who came to Nigeria in the past were of Portuguese and Brazilian origin. Um, and so you can see some traces of their relics and culture. There's a place in Portugal called Lagos also, found here in Lagos, Nigeria. Um, it's also This also makes Lagos to be a tourism gold mine with lots of beaches and areas. The scenery is amazing. You can literally see the Atlantic Ocean from Lekki here in Lagos. Um, so here are parts of the Lekki Peninsula, and we just mentioned a little bit of some of the areas. And Lekki was planned initially to be a smart city, and we're going to get into more details about that. But it's imperative for us to explain or list some of the areas that you can find in Lekki. This is going to this information's or rather this information help would help a lot of people. Say you're dropped here in Nigeria, or say you find your way to having a business partner, or having to be in Lagos. You need to This kind of information will help you navigating and properly understanding what Lagos is like, or what Africa is like, the kind of content we're putting out. So the parts of the Lekki Peninsula we mentioned here are Lekki Phase 1, which is really popular. It has some of the luxurious properties you can ever think of. Ikate, Elegushi, Chevron. Chevron is a very bourgeois area also. Um, Jakonde Estate, Victoria Garden City, which is a mega um, residential project that kicked off a long time ago and has remained solid um, through the test of time. Aja is literally um, a part of Lekki that is much more affordable to a lot of the middle class people here in Nigeria or here in Lagos. It's not as expensive as some of the other areas of Lagos or some of the other parts of Lekki Peninsula, pardon me. And then there's Ibeju Lekki. There are other areas popping up here and there, because one thing about Lagos is there are projects that are always going to be happening. And if you look at that properly, you understand that um, developers always want to build homes because of the large population we have coming into Lagos, or residents in Lagos. Developers want to build homes. There are lots of activities that are happening here in Lagos. So there is a need for us to have properties, or have buildings that serve different purposes. I mean, Nigeria already has a huge housing deficit or housing gap, and Lagos happens to be one of the states that is really on the bad side of that coin. So I mean, you can understand why property developers, real estate developers, construction companies have different strategies. Sand fill, large water um, water areas. They're literally trying to gain land from the ocean, sand filling, construction, piling, and all that. This kind of works are being done just to get more land. Get Each square meter is really important on the island, and that also affects the cost of properties, the rents, and all that of these buildings in this area. So um, yeah, that says a lot. So we're going to be talking about the Lekki Free Zone Development Company, or Lekki Free Trade Zone, or the Lekki Free Zone. So it was launched following the execution of a tripartite agreement in early 2006 between China, Africa Investment Limited, the Lagos State Government, and Lekki Worldwide Investments Limited. So the Lekki Free Zone was an idea or a project that was embarked on some time ago in early 2006. Um, and it was a three-way tripartite, means a three-way agreement between the China Africa Lekki Investment Limited, the Lagos State Government, which is where Lekki is located in, and the Lekki Worldwide Investment Limited. A lot of projects or a lot of work being done here in Africa um, has a backing from the Chinese government, the People's Republic of China. China has lots of investments in different African countries, Nigeria inclusive. And some people jokingly say, when China comes for their money, I hope Africa is ready. I mean, people say this a lot. And that's understandable because lots of loans, Nigeria takes lots of loans. Nigeria, as well as other countries, take lots of loans, lots of investments coming from China. Nigeria's railway right now has had a huge partnership with the Chinese government, investments and all that. So China is always investing, partnering with African countries and working on projects. And that was the same case with the Lekki Free Zone Development Company. So in November 2007, the Lekki Free Zone was officially approved by the Chinese Ministry of Commerce and regarded as one of the major projects, one of the overseas economic and trade cooperation zones by the Chinese government. So you can see here we have the Lekki Worldwide Investments Limited. It was a partnership, a three-way partnership between three of them: the Lekki State Government, the Lagos State Government, pardon, and the China Africa Lekki Investment Limited. So here are some things you need to know about Lekki. Lekki is essentially a new city development. When this plan was being put into place, when the Lekki Free Zone was being put into place, there were um, there were deliverables that were being asked of the project or asked of people who worked on such a project, and unfortunately, not a lot of that was achieved because smart cities take time. Good things take time in general, and smart cities are part of that. And you have to get it right from the conception on the initial stage. And I mean, a lot of things could have been done better. And so here are some the after effects of what has happened from 2006 down to 2020, 2021. This is what Lekki looks like right now. It's essentially a new city development, and it was designed to create millions of jobs, ease the chronic congestion in Lagos, because it was not really one of the parts of the Lagos state. There were lots of projects that were done, lots of buildings and construction work that was done in Lekki had to be done by draining and removal of water, sand filling areas, so that we can make or they could make accommodation for extra population and the really high congestion that was happening in Lagos at the time. Provide essential residential accommodation to the growing upper and middle class citizens of the states. That was literally their target, the upper and the middle class citizens of the states. So it was also an area that was supposed or is supposed to have free taxation for companies, international companies that are willing to do trade, just like a lot of free trade zones are. But one thing you need to notice, one thing I noticed for sure about Lekki is the construction work is always happening, like I just said, and the traffic is a mess, to be honest with you. There's lots of people over here and smart. I feel the part about having a smart transportation system or smart structures that try to tackle these problems. I think that wasn't taken into consideration properly. It's a salient part of smart cities that has to be done. It's a very important part of smart cities. So what is obtainable these days is that we have a lot of Lagosians working on Victoria Island but live in Lekki, because Victoria Island, like I said before, is the commercial hub of the island area. The continual commercialization of Victoria Island, which used to be very residential before, has made that inevitable. Because Lekki does have some of the best properties in Lagos. So it boils down to this question: why are we talking about African cities? Why are African smart cities important? Why are we considering African smart cities? why does Africa need smart cities? And this question, we believe to this so far we've been able to shed some light. And while we move forward, whilst we move forward, we'll also explain further. I mean, I mentioned before, Africa is the future. A lot of good things are happening here, and talents, human capital is one of our greatest assets, and a lot of people are getting world-class skills and working remotely. Digital nomads are over here. Construction every single day, every single corner in different cities in Africa. Every street corner, there's a new building popping up. There's a new company every single day. You come online or you come on social media and a new company just got funding. Tech is at a very high point right now. I mean, tech is one of the parts of the sectors, one of the categories of the economy in Nigeria, particularly, that has contributed the most so far and keeps on contributing the most. It's a way of employment. It's seen as a gateway to actualizing your dreams. Same thing goes um, for entertainment and different sectors that are available or that can be found in the Nigerian economy. But when considering all this, you need to understand that we need smart cities that can be able to sustain the population we have. Nigeria has a high population of over 200 million people here in Nigeria, or born as Nigerians or living in Nigerians as of the last national population census that was carried out. And so this figure is increasing by the day, and Nigeria has one of the youngest populations on the planet, and Africa has one of the youngest populations in the world, to be honest with you. So the questions have to be asked properly, and smart cities come into the picture because they are the future, and they are the cities that would house or hold the population that's booming, and we have to get it right, and that's why we have to ask this really important question. Now, some of the answers here, or some of the facts here, explain also why we are considering African smart cities, or why African smart cities are really important at this point in time, because we are opening doors to the world, doors of Africa to the world, and opening the world to Africa. So this explains, this is a two-way thing. Africa has over 1.2 billion people as of 2016. By 2020, Africa was becoming one of the fastest, or rather is becoming one of the fastest, sorry about that, urbanizing continents in the world. And it has a landmass of over 30.3 million kilometers square, including adjacent islands, Madagascar and the likes, and it covers 6% of the Earth's total surface area and 20.4% of each total land area. Um, that says a lot. Those are huge numbers over there. Africa is the world's second largest and second most populous continent. And I mean, you can see that Nigeria contributes a lot to that. It is currently the most rural, which is this is now where our focus. This is one of the points where our focus is. It is currently the most rural continent in the world, which means urbanization hasn't yet hit Africa the way it should be. There are still it is it is the continent that has the largest amount of rural areas where there are no urban um, amenities, facilities, services, and all that, utilities for people. And that's the reason why when we're building, why government or private investors build in the future, or they want to build homes and all that, they need to consider smart cities, because smart cities will change these numbers or these figures or these indices properly or largely. Um, so it is currently the most rural, and it has only 40% of sub-Saharan Africa's population living in cities. This is appalling, and we can actually do better. So there are many African countries that are on the path to constructing new cities, and it's not always about constructing new cities. Also, existing cities can be upgraded to having smart systems that help the city function better. Um, and we stated here also, it's not about the look or design of the buildings in the city that make a city smart. One of the cities I would like to throw light on or shed light on, or use as an instance is Singapore. Singapore has a similar story to a majority of the African cities here, and Nigeria in particular. And they found a way to harness their human capital talent, found a way to build a smart city based off um, bioenergy. Every single facet of future a smart city needs was put into consideration, and Singapore has skyrocketed to be one of the smartest cities in the world right now, and it can be applicable to different cities here. Existing and new cities can take the same or can toe the same line or can be built the proper way in the same manner. And African cities are on the path to becoming globally competitive. It's imperative, it's really important we have that as a mindset right now whenever constructing new cities. I mean, we have old cities like Amsterdam, Munich, um, London, New York, all of them having to restructure, re-strategize, and make sure the city functions perfectly for every single one who visits or who is a resident in the city. And the same should be applicable to African smart cities. Um, and it's not always about the aesthetic look. I mean, it's really important for everything to look really pleasing to the eye. But majority of these cities that are functional are not really looking so beautiful per se, like our African cities here. So, I mean, that boils down to the questions that needs to be asked or needs answering. Um, what structures, what can we do right, how can we make it right? We should be more focused on the functionality, the usability of um, these features that can be found in a smart city. So we go to the next slide. So we're going to be mentioning some of the smart cities, taking instances, sorry about that, taking instances of the smart cities. So thank you, sorry about that. So one of the smart cities we'll be looking at is we'll be taking instances or examples of smart cities or smart city projects that are ongoing in Africa right now, and we'll be citing some examples. First off is Ghana, and located in the located in the greater Accra region of Ghana, which happens to be Ghana's own Silicon Valley. We have a city called the Hope City. Um, it's it's probably one of the cities you have to consider whenever you're visiting Africa. It was envisaged or planned to have over 550,000 jobs created for the ICT sector. It is Ghana's own Silicon Valley. Accra is the capital of Ghana, and so it was designed to host some of Africa's tallest buildings and hold its own tech hub arena. So um, Ghana is a country in West Africa. Um, its capital is Accra, and there's a smart city project going on there called the Hope City, um, and it has a tech feel to it. It's leaning towards the technology part of being a tech hub or having tech parks here and there in the city. And the development is being done by some of the top Italian architects in the world, and it is designed, or rather, it was designed. It's yet to be completed, and it was initially designed. The prototype was designed to host a cluster of buildings, including ICT parks, and it can. One thing about smart cities is they would always create jobs and opportunities for a lot of people. And this one is creating over 50,000 jobs for the ICT sector in Ghana, which is a huge deal. So this is one of the examples we talked to take note of. And the Ghana government is really doing well. Recently, Twitter had its first office or first HQ here in Africa. And guess what? It's located in Ghana. And they located their first touchdown in Africa had to be in Ghana. And that says a lot. Um, so we're going to talk about Nigeria. And I mentioned this before, which is the Eco Atlantic City. I mean, Lagos is a beautiful place to be at. Um, and considering that, you need to know that the large population we have in Lagos has to be catered for, and Eco Atlantic City was one of the conventional or present day projects that should address these issues, issues of urbanization, challenges of urbanization affecting Lagos. The Eco Atlantic City is found on the Lagos Island, um, around the VI and Lekki axis of the Lagos Island. And upon completion, the economic impacts of it's a $6 billion urban project. It might just save it's going to have a lot of potential and save a lot of people here in the city of Lagos, because Lagos is Africa's largest and fastest growing mega city, and it plans to provide over 250 new jobs for people. And this amazing smart city is going to be built on about 2,400 acres of land. At this point in time, it's still an ongoing project. It should be nearing completion, but the Nigerian factor kicks in majority of the times when you look at all these kind of projects. So the Eco Atlantic is one project is really that really changed the landscape in Nigeria, not just Nigeria, in Africa entirely. So it's majorly a city built on over 2,400 acres of land reclaimed from the Atlantic Ocean. I mentioned this before. There's always land reclamation going on in Lagos State and in different parts of the island, and it is protected by an 8.5-kilometer long seawall to avoid floodings and environmental hazards. So the Eco Atlantic City it has traffic management system, all the basic amenities that needs to be available for a sustainable and world-class 21st century city. And so we'll look at the next one, which is Kenya. Kenya is a country in Eastern Africa. It's a country in Eastern Africa. The capital of Kenya is Nairobi, and they have the Konza Techno City in Kenya. So the project, which has come to be known as Africa's Silicon Savannah, everybody has a nickname for these things, and it's understandable because they're trying to drive their own points. It's a Kenyan urban initiative of 60 kilometers, and it is southeast of the capital, Nairobi. It's made up of 5,000 acres. So I'll take that again. The landmass is over 5,000 acres for this city project, this smart city project. Is the Konza Techno City, and it is located in Nairobi, Kenya. Kenya is Eastern Africa. It's envisioned as a global technological hub under the country's Vision 2030. The city will include cutting edge technology. Technology is at the forefront of this city. It drives everything in education, life sciences, telecommunications, business processing, outsourcing, and information technology and good services. So Konza City is already in the works. The Kenya government is is one government. Excuse me. Young government is one government that has to be commended, and they're doing commendable job, amazing job over there. Majority of their projects are futuristic and groundbreaking projects, and this happens to be one of them. So we'll go to the next one, which is the Vision City. Vision City. So this city is the Vision City in Rwanda. Rwanda is a beautiful city in eastern part of Africa, or the Kosafa region of Africa. It's in between the east and the south, to be honest. So, and the capital of Rwanda is Kigali. Kigali is a beautiful city you might want to visit. And the Vision City is found there. It's a project that's nearing completion. It was launched in 2013, and the cost of putting up the city was estimated to be at $1.9 billion, and it was aims to provide housing for 22,000 people over 8 years. And it's a digital smart city. It's very innovative. They have lots of smart systems, smart transport systems in the works, and it personifies the ethos or the basis or the ideologies of a smart city movement in Africa. Rwanda is a country that is blessed with beautiful people. It's not the most developed part of the world, and it's not the it has a high rate of poverty. The citizens or people, the Rwandan people have are not as stable as the economy is not as stable as it should be. So this right here is coming handy, or it's coming right in time to address a lot of issues. Housing is a major issue here in Africa, and this will provide um, housing for 22,000 people over 8 years. So that's one that is really for the books, or something that catches our eye or is pleasing to take note of. The next one we're going to be considering is the Lansaria city. I mean, South Africa is one of Africa's most urbanized countries. Um, it's in the southern part of Africa. That's why the name goes by South Africa. It has some of the biggest cities in Africa, like Johannesburg, Durban, Cape Town. I mean, lots of cities are found in South Africa. And these cities are properly developed, or they are they can compete on a global scale with different cities in the world. And there are lots of other projects that are always coming up in South Africa. South Africa was one of the first places for that got the feel of digitalization. Um, the country has hosted a World Cup before, and so you can really tell it hosts international events. Lots of foreign people visit South Africa every single month in the year. So a smart city, the Lansaria city, which has 350,000 to 500 people, um, which will boast or hold over 350,000 people to 500 people, which are huge numbers, and will be taking shape in South Africa. The project will create 50,000 residential units and approximately 5 million square meters of commercial floor space. It will not only be smart, but it has 5G. 5G, we will be having 5G. 5G is the future of communication. I remember we mentioned something about communication not too long ago, and to be a leading benchmark for growing infrastructure on the continent and international. So South Africa has the Lansaria city. Now we'll go to the next city, the Akon city in Senegal. Um, this city is being, this project is being pioneered by a musician called Akon. He's an African American superstar who has been at the top of his game, and he is a big fan of smart cities and blockchain. And this has a blockchain feel to it a lot. The city has to be obviously smart cities have to comply with environmental assessments, and it has to be environmental friendly. We are talking about cities that would be that wouldn't harm the climate. Climate changing is a big deal right now. Climate change has is obvious, so it's you can literally feel it in the air, in the atmosphere. So these smart cities are in line or in view with climate change principles. They're in tandem with that. So the city will be integrated into the country's tourism plan, which is the Akon city. It was named after Akon. It's found in Senegal. Senegal is in Western Africa. The capital of Senegal is Dakar. It will be built on an area of 2,000 hectares. Um, it was there was an initial investment of $6 billion, and over right now, a company called KE International has already secured $4 billion for the first and second phases of the project. The city has already been designated as a special tax zone by the Senegalese government, which means reduced tax or no tax at all. Um, so there are a few pivots for developing and improving sustainable smart cities in Africa. One of them is smart bioenergy. Cities are run by energy. Energy is really important. So we need the energy to be obviously smart. We need to have smart ways of doing things as regards energy related, because it affects the climate, fossil fuels and all that. It affects the climate and affects the people and affects healthcare entirely. Smart partners, people who are involved in this program or in this kind of projects have to be um, pro technology, have to have ideologies or um, innovations that are smart, and it has to be done with people who have a history or have validated history or reputation of working on such projects. Smart municipalities. Municipalities are areas in the city or regions. Urban planning, town planning comes into consideration. Zonal ordinances and zoning ordinances, real estate development laws, surveying and all that is very important. So there is no issue with traffic. Traffic management is well catered for. Um, Utilities, um, rights of ways and all that are put into consideration. Smart parking for a lot of people. So these are some of the pivots. There are a lot of other pivots, health related, education related, infrastructure related. Infrastructure is a big deal in smart cities, and I mean, we have cities of properties that have been built within a day. Um, People build with different materials here in Africa or here in Nigeria in particular. In Nigeria, we always build with cement or concrete. We have majorly concrete buildings or cement buildings. Buildings we use cement to build. Um, and it's not the same. There are other parts of Africa and the world where you have bricks, you have reinforced steel, and those are there are companies right now or there are projects that are embarked on large housing schemes that are embarked on that demands those reinforced steel. Um, the house is being built within a day and assembled on site, and this is the future. This is what African countries should be working towards. This is what African governments and economies should be working towards, and this says a lot. So the next one is health systems. So regardless of Nigeria's strategic importance in Africa, the health sector is really at a bad point right now, and health is an important part of smart cities, because the people who live in the cities need to be healthy. Things need to be put in place that will help people improve their health, and telehealth is a big deal right now. Um, um, these days, unlike before, you can call a number and talk to a doctor, a government-sponsored dial tone that can help you in times of need. It was really important to have this, especially after the COVID period. COVID-19 hit us so hard, and so government had to reevaluate a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot that can be done, a lot more can be done, and there are lots of telehealth companies here and there, um, health tech companies popping up here and there. Sadly, they don't have as much funding as other sectors, but that explains why the negligence is there. Um, and unlike the popular saying that says, um, nothing fit kill black man, and dirty no fit kill black man, which means dirt cannot kill a black man. Um, it's not entirely true. Health is really important. There are poor healthcare facilities. I mean, the healthcare sector is literally the most depleted sector in the Nigerian and African um, in the African space on the continent. We're fighting with diseases like AIDS, HIV/AIDS, and polio, recently COVID, malaria, and so health systems need to be put in place to help people, people who are pregnant, people who are who have newborn babies, or even people who are adults and young people. Um, Programs need to be healthcare needs to be affordable, needs to be accessible for every single person, and this is really important to have this health system. And one thing that's happening these days is AI, artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence is the use of technology, simply means the use of technology to structure programs or um, programs or projects that can be performed automatically. So it involves robotics, machine learning, data analysis, and the likes. So AI is something that Africa can bank on. I mean, it's being done in different parts of the world. When you go to international airports in other parts of the world, in Heathrow and the likes, you can literally see robots that can attend to you in China, in Japan, in Asia, in the US, in the UK, in Europe. Um, there are places where you don't have to have an attendant um, attend to you. A robot is there, a system is there that can help you solve whatever needs you're looking for. And this is something that's going to help Africa because we have a gap in infrastructure. We don't have the same infrastructure and amenities that can be found over there in other countries in the world. So this is really, really important. The use of AI, artificial intelligence, data analysis, and product development in providing solutions seems to be overwhelming, but there is already some promise as smart technology is already used in some degrees in countries like Nigeria. There are technologies, fintech related, health tech, property tech. Now you can get properties for you can be and you can stay in your living room and get a new place on your smartphone. It wasn't always the case. Affordable housing, um, room sharing and all that, Airbnbs, all this and that, traffic management, telling you where you should go to at different points in time, how the traffic is at different places. The Lagos State traffic management system is very, very helpful now. It's not always been the same. So AI, artificial intelligence, helps this because AI predicts big data, and AI helps in predicting outcomes and giving the best desirable results. So this is really important. Africa can leverage on AI to bridge the gap we have, the problems we have already. So then go to the next slide. Transportation and sustainable mobility. Transportation is really important. We're really keen on this because, I mean, people have to move around in the city. Activities go on day and night. And for a city like Lagos that doesn't sleep, transportation is really important. The denser or more populated the city, the greater the population, especially in African urban centers like Lagos, Cairo, which is the capital of Egypt, Accra, the capital of Ghana, Pretoria, Durban, Johannesburg, Cape Town in South Africa, Nairobi in Kenya, um, um, Kigali in Rwanda, Dakar in Senegal, live different places in in Africa, freedom in Africa places. Sorry about that, in African cities. So it's really important for the transportation network to be structured properly and have a sustainable mobility plan for every single person. How easy is it for someone who has a disability or who's on a wheelchair to navigate in a city like Lagos? How easy is it for someone who comes to Lagos for the first time, a newcomer in Lagos? How easy is it for them to move from one place to the other? These are the questions that make a smart city the way they should be. The transport network in Lagos is predominantly road-based, and that's the truth. In different cities in Africa, it's the same thing. With 90% of total passengers and goods move through road, Nigeria doesn't have a functioning, Lagos also, which is a city in Nigeria, doesn't have a functioning railway system, a proper railway network. We don't have a solid air transportation system. We're not literally the biggest on waterways. So a lot can be done. A lot can be done better. Um, if you look at it properly, Lagos has the only properly functioning airport in the southwest, and it's a it's a sad thing to be honest. Only airport that is the only international airport that's properly functioning, and that's a really sad thing to talk about or to take note of. So transportation is really important, and transportation has to be done right. It's not about the infrastructure; it's about the use cases, the experience you're trying to give people who make use of these transportation systems, traffic management, cams and all that, street lighting, mobility, everything as regards transportation has to be sorted out from the inception, from the birthplace or from the birth point. And Lagos has to have that as its focus point. The government and private individuals or investors or developers, 90% of Lagosians move through the road um, one day, and that's why you have a large amount of traffic here in Lagos. Um, so for Lagos to achieve that, we need to also leverage on alternative transportation and sorry about that. And Lagos has a lot of water bodies surrounding it, and we can leverage on that. The state has natural waterways for ferry services, and it's really important to leverage on this. The Lagos State um, Water Management Authority or Lagos State Water Transportation Body have stations and terminals in different places. One of the major terminals, which is shown in the picture here, is the Five Cowries terminal on the island, and you have jetties and ferries that carry people from different points of Lagos on the island to different points of Lagos within the island and on the mainland also. And this is an advantage. This should be seen as an advantage to Lagosians and the Lagos government because we should build on this to get it to the standard it needs to be. I mean, a lot can be done more. It can be advertised. A lot of people do not make use of this. People need to find it comfortable to make use of that. Safety measures have to be put in place. Affordability has to be considered. There's a large number of people who want to have these experiences, but majority of them can't because they don't have the ability or the funds to do that. And this is really important. And we stated here, it is not uncommon to spend over 5 hours daily on the commute in Lagos. And if you spend, sorry about that, if you spend this amount of time on the road or while moving in Lagos, 5 hours out of 24 hours says a lot. And this affects productivity. People have this bias that the lifespan in Lagos is reduced compared to other cities in Africa and Nigeria. And that's true because there's a lot of traffic every single day, even on the weekends. There are lots of issues, mishaps while transitioning or while on transit or in transportation. And that is something that needs to be solved if Lagos needs to attain the status of being a smart city. I mean, for someone who's moving from the island, Ikoyi, somewhere in Ikoyi, to the mainland, somewhere in Ikeja or Magodo or one area of Lagos, the person has to spend over 2 hours or you have to plan yourself ahead. And this is for a journey that could barely be done within 30 minutes or under an hour. And this is a lot. Sometimes it extends more than that. And this affects people's mentality, productivity, the timelines, and all that. So we need to leverage on alternative transportation. Intelligent transport systems can help in reducing the impact of congestion in cities. Lagos is doing an amazing job. The Lagos bus, the BRT system, the bus system or the bus transportation system has been doing amazingly well. And they have this beautiful card that helps people um, get into make use of their services at an affordable rate. And this is one of the stations shown here in the picture. The BRT, just like you have the bus stations and the bus systems in countries like the UK, when you're moving from London or a part of London to some other parts and all that, the same way works here. But what they have over there is more efficient and more effective, and it covers a large network or a large part of the states. We have a lot of improvement to be done, but kudos to the Lagos state government and everyone involved. It's helping and saving a lot of people's stress and movements, but a lot can be done because every day the population increases here in Lagos. What's the questions that needs to be asked now is what can we do more? How can we make this better? And that's really important. So we're giving instances of some things that can help. For instance, advanced traveler and traffic management systems can predict congestion and profile alternative routes options to vehicles in real time and improve the efficiency of travel. It was not the same up until, it was not the same, this was never um, possible up until recently, especially here in Lagos and in different cities in Africa. Um, Unlike before, now you can get on your Uber or your Bolt, or we have those kind of companies over here, or you get on different, you get on a public transport or a public bus, and you have your map. If you have data, and if your network is solid enough, then you can check your Google Map, or you check on Apple or on Safari, whichever one works for you, and you check alternative routes. Traffic management systems now tell you, okay, this is where you should avoid traffic. We have um, radio stations also that are responsible for that right now in Lagos. We also have billboards on different parts of the island, of the island and the mainland, showing real time of traffic, um, and telling you how long it takes for you to get from one part of the city to another. This can be found, and this will help people make decisions, make movements. It gives better alternative route options. You, if you move before you leave your house or you leave your apartment, you could check your map and then know what routes to take and know how to go about it, even if you get stuck in traffic. Such systems can also offer information to vehicles and travelers on the best time to leave their homes, just like I mentioned, which will enable them to take the best options. Um, so we're going to take a look at one of the projects that's really important, that has been that has changed the face of Lagos entirely. Oshodi is a part of Lagos. It's a very popular bus stop or area in Lagos, um, and it's located on the Lagos mainland. And it has over 1 million people who passing through or making use of that area um, every day. So recently, not too long ago, some time ago, the past government initiated the Oshodi Transport Interchange. It was a public-private partnership um, between the Lagos State government via Ibile Holdings, Translink Capital Limited, Development Limited, and it was constructed by an indigenous reputable firm called Planet Projects. The project was carried out by them, and it was estimated to cost $70 million, and it looked like it was similar it is similar because you can find it there. It's there for everyone to see. It's on the internet. I mean, the government has done an amazing job to do this. It has different terminals, and these buses that we showed earlier on have their parks. There are different parks, and there are different um, transportation spots. There are ticketing centers. There are areas, bridges, and all that for easy access. This is one of the projects that has changed the face of Lagos as a smart city. Um, it has helped a lot of things, curb um, traffic, crime, and all that. Um, Proper routing of transportation, and this was a commendable project by the Lagos State government. It was recently, it's still um, being is in use already, but there are still some changes that keep on happening from time to time, and it has been officially commissioned. Each bus terminal consists of 30,000 square meters. Oshodi is one of the largest bus stops in or bus stations or parks in Lagos. Another one is Obalende. It's on the island. Oshodi is on the mainland. I mean, if you want to go to different parts of Lagos and you can't find your way around, if you can get yourself to Oshodi, you definitely get a bus or a vehicle that can take you there by road. There's a train network that passes through it also. So if you want to take the train, and Oshodi is an amazing place to experience. It has the robust life of Lagos in its extremities, from the good to the bad to the poor to the rich. Everything can be seen down there. Everyone makes use of Oshodi from time to time. Um, so this project is very commendable. It's called the Oshodi Transport Interchange. It was likened to the Victoria Terminus in London. So one more thing we're going to be looking at here is um, aggregation of data. Like I said, data is really important. Decentralization, digitalization, sorry, and aggregation of data. When data is collected, it's really important for the data to be deployed properly, um, collected properly, and analyzed properly. So, and everyone is big on decentralization right now. Blockchain, NFTs, sorry about that. Things are happening in the decentralized space. Decentralized finance, DeFi, is ruling fintech at this point in time. So the same way applies for smart cities. Decentralization, digitalization, and aggregation of data plays a vital role in developing the smart cities that Africa needs or Africa should have in the future and currently. When the data is collected, it has to be collected in a decentralized point from a decentralized point of view or in decentralized way. And decentralization can help get this data in a way that the data is open source. The data can be found by everyone who wants to make use of it and who wants to make prompt decisions from it. The data can be easily accessible. The data can be used to make informed decisions, and um, it's data that everyone is aware of. It's open source. It's decentralized. Digitalization. There has to be a digital approach. People can access it digitally. People can understand it from a digital point of view, because a lot of people have smartphones, Android devices, Apple devices, and the likes, laptops, and all that. It has to be readily available. This data has to be readily available or accessible to people. It has to be able to be displayed on billboards, like I mentioned, on traffic cam systems, on transit, or in hospitals, wherever locations you're looking at. And digitalization is a really important part of data collection and aggregation. There are systems that help in achieving this, and AI is also at the center of this. And it's really important that African cities take this look towards it. So here we're explaining about that decentralization of systems is another way to mitigate risks. Mitigate meaning is another way to reduce or tackle risks by ensuring that the pockets of technology are scattered and not in one central location. That means technology is not being held at one location, because when that is done, if something peradventure something wrong happens to that location, everything gets lost. So if the Lagos State transport system has their servers in some place and it gets burnt one day, just like we hear of offices getting burnt, and there's no decentralized system, I mean, we lose all the data that's there, and it's always been the same. It's always been the case here in Africa and Lagos. A lot of these incidents happen, and this decentralization of systems will help address these issues, in which the the risk of attack can be reduced drastically, and things going wrong on a wider scale can be can be put in check. Um, if the central system goes wrong, nothing happens. There are other sports that can um, fully function without depending on one sport or one area where the technology is, and this will help in securing the data and securing the technology needed to continue with life and running the city the way it should be. So this is something that's really important. Digitalization is a process affecting a great number of aspects of our life. More than half of the world's population live in cities right now. This is why the urban space is also changing, and digitalization is rapidly digitalizing rapidly. That means digitalization is happening at a rapid pace. As I mentioned before, some solutions are possible with only local information. For instance, the signboard showing available parking spots, I just mentioned that before, or showing traffic and traffic cams and traffic management systems. Wherever possible, if data needed to make things easier is local and doesn't need centralization to work, there is no need for centralization. Um, anonymization, which means anonymity, the data being anonymous, and aggregation of data. Anonymous means you can track the owner or the person putting out this data. Um, Aggregation of data um, enhances privacy, and building citizens' trust and openness increases trust and engagement levels. People get to be feel among, get to understand that this is something that they can partake of. This is something they need to be part of. They can contribute without any fear of being having a negative effect on that. They can understand where it's coming from. The data can be dispensed properly without risking um, security of how the data is gotten or where the data is gotten. So in summary, developing African nations can set themselves apart. Now we're trying to give a summary of what's we've done so far. We've had an amazing session. We've spoken about transportation. We've given instances of cities, of cited cities um, where smart cities places in Africa where smart cities are involved. So in summary, we're just giving you a breakdown, the final point here, saying that developing African nations can set themselves apart with a strong drive to succeed, good vision. We barely have good vision from our leaders and management, as they now have the opportunity to simply adopt what has proven successful elsewhere, saving huge initial development costs in the process. So I mentioned some cities that have adopted smart city techniques and strategies, just like I mentioned, Singapore, Amsterdam, other cities, different cities in the world, Japan and Tokyo in Japan. Um, we can we can take a book, take a leaf of their book, or we can use them as examples, cite those kind of examples while building our own smart cities. And this approach would give the luxury of black canvas. It will give us a luxury to explore and improve more on what they've done. And the thing is, we need to be proactive. We need to, African leaders, African economies need to do that right now. It's now or never, because if you don't cater for these needs, the needs of the large population you have in these cities, the cities go might go bad, and the flourishing it can deteriorate. It can further become a city of its. It can be a ghost of itself. It can become a city that is not fully functional. It would phase out. Technology would definitely um, phase it out, and it's really important we take a look from this country. These examples we've cited before. Um, these strategies we made mention of, these pivots we've made mention of, we're building a smart city, the right smart city, transportation systems, communication, structure, data, technology, AI, all this together would help us in building um, the smart city we need, and it will save us the cost of huge initial development costs, meaning like we would not, what this simply means is we wouldn't be spending on research. We would have to ask questions. It wouldn't cost us time or resources to find out how to do it. Yes, we have to do it in a way that it fits the African culture and the African people, but we can take, all we're trying to say is we can take a leaf, we can take an idea, pick ideas from different people, um, different things that have been done, different cultures, different smart cities that are already existing, and build our own smart city for the African people. And this can be done if you're building new cities from the scratch with these technologies, as you can see in Africa and Kenya's Silicon Savannah and Lagos Eco Atlantic City. So in summary, what we're saying is African cities can be done, it's doable, we need to do it now, and kudos to all the countries having their smart city projects ongoing. Lagos, Eco Atlantic City, Kenya, Silicon Savannah, Ghana, Hope City, South Africa, Lensaria City, Senegal, Akon City, Rwanda, Vision City, lots of cities here and there are doing an amazing job um, to improve the lives and cater for all the needs that the city is being invested with. So in summary, I'm really happy to be here, and I hope you enjoyed this session. Subsequently, we'll be talking more about this and other things. You should keep your fingers closed. We put out some resources. Africa is the future. It's like we mentioned here, for Africa to stimulate economic growth. I'm really excited about this. Africa is our own. It's not just for some people. Everyone um, has to be involved, I believe. That's the mindset we have over here. Um, it has a huge potential, and even if you're not doing things or you're not looking at it from a profitable point of view, you should be looking at it from a humanitarian point of view also. So for Africa to stimulate economic growth and become a global destination for individuals, businesses and tourists, the rural towns have to start competing among one another. We have 40% of um, the suburbs in Africa still being rural, and that's a big deal. Africa is the most rural continent, and I start to say this, that why would that be the case? Things can be changed for better. So the cities will have to do the same. Rural areas need to be converted into towns, and towns need to be converted into cities. They have to compete within themselves. This competition um, creates um, ingenuity, creates improvement, creates buildings, creates infrastructural development. And when these towns are of age or they come of status, they become cities. The cities continue to improve, compete with each other. They become um, mega cities and metropolises. So um, the cities, it's really important for Africa to do this and to stimulate such economic growth and become a global destination for a lot of people. This has to be the mindset of the leaders and everyone involved, investors, developers, talents, and the layman in Africa. And so we close this with saying Africa is the future. Like I said before, Africa is where it's all happening. And I'm super excited about this one. Really, really excited about this one. We put out we used some references in this work, and we made sure to make mention of these references and the resources we use. And we'll be putting out some documents and a deck, obviously, um, subsequently to help further understand if you want a written version or if you want something that gives better knowledge for keeps. And I'm really excited to be here. Yes, once again, my name is KHQ. I mean, it's been a long session, but I really enjoyed this. Um, I'll have to go take some water eventually, but I'm glad to have shared this with you, and I look forward to talking with you next time. Stay safe.